and welcome to another week of Libertarians at Large. My name is Eric Rautzep, and this is where we discuss the week in news and express a libertarian point of view on the ongoings in our nation and abroad. We welcome your comments and questions in the chat box, so feel free to comment regularly. We may share your comments on the air. This week, I'm joined by my fellow Libertarian at Large members. I do apologize by that. Valerie Sarawak and Laura FT. I know that you can't make that up. And this week, our special guest is Ashley Slade, the head chair of Outright Libertarians. Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great week.
Hey, Eric, I think your overreaction to the phone was
Probably.
That's what got me.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Oh.
That was perfect timing for an intro, right? You got a musical intro now.
Exactly. That's hard to time perfectly like that.
That's the only time my phone ever rings is when I'm, logging into, a Zoom call with the boss or something. That's when the phone goes off. It's like, sorry.
Right. Exactly. I mean, when else would someone want to call you? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
At least that's my life.
Eric, I really like your shirt. That is just a sharp shirt.
Well, thank you. So, the other week, right after Libertarians at Large, and I had mentioned that I started my libertarian existence in Suffolk County, New York. Someone from the Suffolk County Libertarian Party reached out to me and said, hey, we have a store now, and you need to purchase the shirt. So I went right onto their store. It actually arrived yesterday, and so I'm sporting some Suffolk County Libertarian Party swag. And if you want some, you can go to sclp.org. Think so. 1 second. Nope, that's South Carolina. True. You know what? I should have had this pulled up, and I will put it on the scroll bar in a little bit. But I'm going to have to look it up, and I do apologize to Suffolk County for that. But how's everyone else doing? What's everyone else doing here?
What are we doing here?
Well, doing okay.
That's quiet. So, Ashley, you're the head of Outright Libertarians, an organization that is near and dear to my heart because I've served on the board in prior years. How's everything going over there?
Things are going great with Outright Libertarians. We have a brand new board this term around, which has been fantastic. And we are replanning and restructuring and finding new volunteers every single month joining up and wanting to be a part of what we're doing. And we've been really focused on building out our committees as part of the organization and getting more people involved. So, our mission is to be the bridge between the GSM community and the Libertarian Party. And so we want to raise up other GSM voices and get them involved. And that's been our focus. So we're really happy about the progress we've made so far at Outright and what we have coming up in the pipeline. Things are going to be great. We're working on creating a merch store. That's something that'll be coming soon. And we have a few other things going on as well. So we're really happy to be involved and continue to grow, and very exciting things happening with Outright.
That's awesome.
So, Jared says hi. He says that we're his favorite people and that Ashley Shade is the nicest person in the world, and I'm glad she's on tonight. So we're glad too, Ashley.
I happen to wholeheartedly agree on that.
Well, thank you so much.
And Jared wants to know if Valerie got dressed up for tonight.
Yes, I did. Don't I every week? I had another call before this. And so, everybody on this show is already used to what I look like, but I hadn't seen those people in a while. So I did a little bit extra. Yeah. What else is going on?
So actually, I know that you have some great programs going on for fundraisers in Outright. Do you want to kind of tell us some of the things going on over there?
Yeah, so one of our big fundraisers right now is we created the Outright Libertarians drag calendar. So we have 12 libertarians who have participated and have donned the drag. And we held a contest where our members voted with their dollars for the 12 highest people that they wanted to see in drag, and those people submitted their photos. The calendar is a beautiful, beautiful calendar. It came out very well. If you're looking to get the calendar, please visit our Facebook page, and you can go on and purchase the calendar on there. It's a beautiful, beautiful calendar that we created, and we will also be selling them at several conventions upcoming as well. So make sure you go to your local state convention. We'll have some there for you to buy as well.
You know, before this show, I should have grabbed it off the wall in the kitchen because I actually have it on the wall right now downstairs.
So do I.
And if anyone's wondering, right there at the bottom is the Facebook link to Outright USA, so you can order the calendar or just make a donation to Outright Libertarians, a phenomenal organization.
Hey, Ashley, did I see that you're running for city council or some such thing?
You did, yes.
Well, tell us about that.
Yes, so I'm currently gearing up to run for city council. We have an exploratory committee in place at the moment, and we are getting ready to officially announce soon. But right now we're working on...
Sounds like you just did.
Officially. We will officially announce soon, but we're working on creating a platform. We have our website and social media up. You can check out the website, ashleyshade.com. But I'll be running in North Adams, Massachusetts, which is where I live. It's a small little city, about 13,000 people. I ran 4 years ago, and this is before I even joined the Libertarian Party. I had ran. I had no budget, no signs, no teams. I participated in one candidate forum and did like 2 interviews. Then I got 700 votes. And the way it works for North Adams is that there are 9 seats and the top 9 people get elected. It's all at large. So 700 votes in that race, and the 9th place winner got about a little over 1,600. So we found that the win number is about 1,700, but we're playing blackjack. We want 21. So I'm pushing for 2,100 votes. That's the goal. That's what we want to achieve to get a solid seat on the council. And our website is up. I have been doing interviews with a bunch of libertarians, getting the word out there that the campaign is coming. And so far, it's been very well received and very well supported. We've raised 14% of our fundraising goal already, and we haven't officially announced yet. So press release is coming soon. We'll officially announce. But we are making great strides. I have a great team of volunteers behind me for a 13,000 city, a city with 13,000 residents, 2,100 votes. I've got a team of about 30 volunteers, including 12 local ones on the ground ready to rock. So we're taking things very seriously. We're getting organized early, and we're in it to win it.
That's great.
And when does this election happen? Is that this year yet?
Yes, the election will be in November. It'll be a November election, first Tuesday in November, which I believe is November 2nd this year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at the calendar. I'm going the wrong way. So essentially how it'll work is if there are more than 16 candidates, we will primary in September. There's usually not more than 16 candidates, and it does look like November 2nd, that Tuesday will be the election day. So if there's a primary, we'll primary in September. If there's more than 16 candidates, they'll cut it down to like 12 or 13, and then we'll go from there into November. But I feel I've got a really good chance to get a seat here. People in the community are excited, and I'm very involved in the community. So over the past 4 years since I first ran, I've been putting in the work in my community to get my name out there and let people know that I really do care about my community and want to help people. And so that's how I feel is the best way to get yourself elected, make that progress.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, good luck. And as you announce formally, we'll be sure to let people know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you been on with Pat Ford yet?
I have. I was on LPTV a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, that's a good resource too.
Yes. So
And it's-
I've gone on with Pat Ford. I've gone on with Larry Sharp. And Tuesday night, I will be going on Muddied Waters with Spike and Matt. So hitting up all the interview spots. If anybody's interested in talking, I'd be happy to jump on. But for tonight, I'm here to talk to all of you because you're all amazing.
There you go. Absolutely. Thank you. And you're the amazing one. You are what makes this show amazing. That and our amazing listeners and watchers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what, guys?
Oh,
we're all tired, and so
I know it's been a week. Oh my gosh, there has been
crazy
so
week.
much going on in this week. I mean, do we have any opinions on HR1 that has passed last night in Congress?
In the House,
Or
right?
in the House.
In the House.
Sorry, yeah, it is. It'll probably not pass the Senate. Let's be honest, but it's interesting. Has anyone? I mean, I haven't read it in detail. I will admit this is one that I have not even read in detail, but I have perused it. And on first look, it didn't look like it would do anything. It was kind of a non-starter, and then you start digging in, and it's interesting. It is worded in such a way that it can be very ambiguous by design and can actually flip itself to actually hurt the very thing that it's trying to protect. And if you're not familiar with HR1, it is a Voting Protection Act. So basically on the federal level, it'll make sure that potentially felons are restored the right to voting, to ensure that nobody is turned away at the polls. There's a standardization at the federal level that will actually kind of give states a guideline and all of this stuff. I mean, on the surface, it actually sounds like, well, it's still the federal government overstepping its bounds. But there's a passion or at least a good intent that I can see and follow. And then you start reading this bill. And you start realizing very quickly that it is worded to be taken whatever way you want. And if you want to use this as a tool to actually disenfranchise voters, it's very easily to do so. And that's the scary part. That is the really, really scary part.
Well, congratulations for reading more than I looked at the title and I looked at the stuff and it's like, whatever. If it's not going to pass, it's not going to pass, and I'm not going to spend hours and hours reading it.
Yep. And Joe actually also brings up a very good point. There is a lot of federal matching of funds, so there are financial riders on this bill, and it will probably cost somewhere in the vicinity of probably about 500 million to 750 million if my math is right, but which is a drop in the bucket in comparison to other things on the federal level anyway. But still, it completely oversteps a lot of boundaries that should be preserved, and actually goes against the ability to have states determine their own election and tabulation abilities, which is really kind of a scary thing because it's yet another erosion of states being able to be self-determining on yet another level. So, yeah.
So Jared asked this question. He said, "Are you ready for Sunday?" And I'm going, "What's Sunday?" I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. Apparently, he's talking about, I'm guessing, the LNC meeting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Which will be awful. But I mean, no, I'm sure it'll be great. It'll be great. 7 hours of fun.
You know what? I don't think it's going to take 7 hours.
I don't either.
I really don't think it's.
I think.
Is that a dare?
And if it takes 7 hours, I'm blaming you, Laura. I'm sorry.
Well, it's scheduled from 2 to 9 or something like that, which sounds pretty awful to me. So,
we'll break for dinner, I'm sure.
I come from a world where if you've got a meeting that lasts more than 3 hours, that's it. There's just really no reason for it. And I mean, I used to get, glazed looks on my eyes, I think, when I'd have a committee hearing that would be going into the evening. We occasionally had these that start at 1:30 and on gun day and pot day and abortion day. Those are the 3 days in the Judiciary Committee that would last forever. Okay. And the one time we started at 1:30 in the afternoon, when I left the Capitol, the moon was rising over the parking lot. Yeah. I mean, it was like 9:30, 9:45. It was pretty awful. So Jared's shooting for 10 now. Oh, well, thanks, Jared. and Tim is betting on over 7 hours. What can we do?
No.
No.
I'm thinking it's going to be 4, maybe 5 hours, and we're out. And I still agree with you. Any meeting over 3 hours is probably just screwing the pooch, but yeah.
You really shouldn't have to. The proposed items for the agenda suggested that.
I've requested 5 minutes, and I promise that I will speak no more than 90 seconds. So that'll save you 3.5 minutes.
Thanks, appreciate that. Part of the problem is that sometimes we talk things to death. Mm-hmm. We just want to keep talking about it. It's like no, meetings are to make the decisions. You're supposed to talk about this stuff beforehand. Yes. So
I still regret withdrawing my amendment motion to name our unofficial mascot George Quillies. But once people started wanting to do debate about naming what to name the thing, I was like, forget it. Just we won't
pull
even.
Yeah,
we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Oh.
See what we talk about, Ashley? It doesn't sound fun, huh?
Yeah, well, better all of you than me. That's all I can say to that.
You can tune in on YouTube.
Or you could be on the show next year, right?
Yeah.
There will be a time where I may tune in. There's things that I do, of course, pay attention to. But at this time, it's better all of you than me. I'm glad we have, I will say I'm glad we have the people in place that we do. The current LNC I like very much, and I'm very proud of the work you're all doing. So I hope to continue to be able to support that, and we'll absolutely call you out if I do. So
okay.
Absolutely, please do. Keep my feet to the fire. I love it.
Oh, you got it.
Warm feet are great.
I'll put you back in the oven. You got the outdoor oven we can throw you in.
This is true. Yes, I do have the outdoor pizza oven. So that's that. You've just added a new level of scariness to this.
We do not advocate for violence. Okay. I do believe in the nap, okay?
There we go.
Oh. So everyone knows that I love space news, right?
Uh-oh.
This is
Mars,
no
right?
surprise, right?
Yeah.
Does everyone see Elon Musk and SpaceX with serial number 10 yesterday?
No.
So serial number 10, which is their test bed to create a spaceship that will go to the moon and potentially onto Mars. They launched it. They sent it up 10 kilometers. It hovered for 30 seconds and then came back. And this is the first one that they've actually gotten to stick the landing. And when the smoke cleared, it was standing. Unfortunately, due to excess heat, the legs melted and it fell over and exploded 5 minutes after it landed. But they did finally stick the landing. And this is really kind of one of the things that really impresses me, because the entire Starship program has really been rocking and rolling now for about 1.5 years. Whereas Artemis, which is the NASA program, and I have utmost respect for NASA, has now been going for 10 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't even had a successful engine test. And it's all based on technology from Apollo and the Space Shuttle program. And they still can't get proven technology to work together. And this is the ineptitude of the U.S. government.
Yes, the government ruins everything.
Exactly. Actually, currently they are approximately $22 billion over budget. So they've spent over $35 billion. And they don't even have a working engine yet. What is the American taxpayer paying for? When there's a private entity that can create a rocket, successfully test fly it, and has an amazing test cadence, and will probably be ready to go to the moon before Artemis even has its first successful launch. Under budget. No, Jared, it is not surprising at all, not even in the least. But this is why this is the future of space travel. This is the future of our exploration. This is the way we have to go, and we need to ditch the old ways of doing things because they don't work and they are a burden on the American taxpayer. And I'm not just talking about the space program. I'm talking about healthcare. I'm talking about everything else that goes into the entire bucket of the government, because if the market speaks, the market will get a better answer for cheaper than anything else that the government can put up, because the government is its own customer and will spin its wheels in the mud and create nothing but a mess. I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, it's true. Like the EPA, libertarians are always like, abolish the EPA, but then we look like cold-hearted people that want to dump gasoline into the ocean. But one of my friends made a very good point. Chrissy Wickers actually made a very good point as somebody who studied environmental sciences. What has the EPA done for people? They haven't even created like a recyclable plate or, anything to better the environment. And they have a huge budget and just waste a bunch of money. So when the EPA was created, and I'm against government programs, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't enough legislative or legal precedent to effectively put environmental issues through the court system. That has now completely changed. Yes.
We have over 50 years of environmental law and precedent going through the courts. The EPA is past its usefulness. It was a temporary patch, and we're treating it like it's a permanent solution. And the EPA needs to get out of the way and let our legal system actually perform the job that it was designed and does on a daily basis.
Well, what we have with government programs like the EPA or like NASA or healthcare even, is we just have a system that's set up for the elected politicians to bid on their friends who are paying for their campaigns so they can kick back more money for them and delay things. So it's really just you get me elected and I'll get you a contract, and we'll delay things for years so you can collect for years on that contract on work that can be done in 3 to 6 months in many places where we're handing it out for 6 to 10 years. And so it's just a big cushy system of you rub my back, I'll rub your back, and the taxpayers will pay for it. That's what's happening. That's where we're at with most of these agencies. No. Never heard of a kickback.
I know, it's hard to believe, Jared. It really is.
I know. It's insane to think that the government would pay people that they already know and are friends with and who donated to their campaigns. Just like it's no surprise that people who run war defense contractors are part of the Pentagon making decisions to bomb Syria. Does that surprise anybody? Unfortunately, no. It's the same people who are profiting off of it. They're making the decisions.
We talked about it last week. The manufacturer of the new postal trucks is Oshkosh military manufacturer. So one day they're making Humvees or accessories to Humvees, and then the next day they're making the next generation of mail trucks, which are completely ineffective as mail trucks anyway because they're too wide and won't get down narrow streets in a lot of residential developments.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another great spending of money. But
Yep.
yeah.
You know, when you're building something, they tell you to measure twice, right? Measure the first time, remeasure again.
Mhm.
When it comes to government work, measure, cut, 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 and then maybe you'll get it right one day. But as long as you keep measuring and cutting, the funds are going to keep coming and you're going to keep getting paid. So you don't have to do it right. You want to do it as long as possible because you want to keep that funding coming in.
Anytime Norm Abrams from This Old House gets quoted, I just smile. Measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, government contracts should be set up to last a certain period of time. And it says, if you complete it by this date, you get this amount. If it takes longer, you get less and less and less.
Yeah.
So that's how we can incentivize to actually get stuff done. And but it's endless. And as long as there's an endless check going out, who wouldn't take advantage of that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're starting to see it with some highway projects that the faster they finish, the higher the payout.
Yeah.
So there was actually a bridge replacement, and I'm trying to remember where it was. I want to say it was somewhere in Pennsylvania, but I may be very wrong on this. But the entire construction project was done in under 56 hours. And that, because they all used cast concrete and everything was just basically drop and go, that construction company walked away with bank.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that they need to do, to start doing with those contractors is that the people who have been elected shouldn't be voting on who gets the contract. It should be an independent organization that has no ties. Everything is based on bias and how much you've donated to my campaign, and that's how they lock up votes. There needs to be accountability to the system, and there isn't. And that's how we really have to fix these problems and start looking at the perspective. It's not just, they're doing this stuff and they're doing bad things. There's no accountability. And so how do we actually solve the problem? Let's put in independent organizations. Let's put in auditors. Let's actually make sure that there's independent people looking at these bids, not the people who were given, $5,000 by 35, 40 employees to make sure that they would secure their bid for that project to the campaign. It's just,
and let's not make our auditors elected positions who have to vie for these votes as well.
Exactly.
Because that's what some states have done now. And it's doing away. I mean, who's going to audit the auditors?
What we should do is we should get rid of the IRS and turn it into an auditing agency. The IRS
I like it.
Audit the U.S. government. Stop taking income tax everywhere, and anybody who works for income taxes should immediately become an auditor and audit their own governments. That's what we need.
There you go.
Audit. I want to know where every dollar is going, and if you're wasting it, you're going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
accountability.
In a perfect world. Oh,
instead of the IRS, we'll have the IAS, the Internal Auditing Service.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think we need to rename them tomorrow.
Nebraska has, and a lot of states have this, I think, but Nebraska has a state auditor. Mm-hmm. The state auditor can audit state books, but mostly what they do is they go out and audit complaints, for counties or school boards or cities and that sort of thing. So they go out and audit other public entities, and they found some crazy stuff the last few years in Nebraska. There's one case where one of the the public cemeteries. The guy that was running the cemetery was skimming money off the top or something. I mean, so there's all sorts of things like that that could certainly, a good auditor can make a big difference.
Which is great, but in Massachusetts, our auditor is an elected official, party elected official, and so we had a couple of years ago we had a scandal where the state police were caught forging overtime and getting paid for it. And what happened? The auditor that was elected beforehand that did nothing with it was reelected, even though we had a wonderful libertarian on the ballot who was endorsed by the Boston Globe, Dan Fishman, at the time. And we could have had an independent auditor, but instead we get the same cronyism back in there, and they just hide everything. So that's the system we're broken and dealing with. Auditors should always be independent, always.
Well,
Totally agree.
Eric, what time is it?
It is 8:30, so you know what time that is. I know. We need a special intro for this.
Oh, yeah.
If someone would call now, it would actually be good, but no one's going to.
We need like the sound of a typewriter or something. It sounds like the...
Or the teletype.
Yes,
there you go. Yeah, exactly. The old teletype.
There you go.
I am actually old enough
I feel like
to remember
this is
a teletype.
This is going to open like a big can of worms, and Eric's going to like go buy some sound machine, and it's going to be like,
I have a soundboard now.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's going to be pyrotechnics.
We're going to turn this into like a cheesy 80s sports show where we have the honk and all of that stuff.
Fake applause.
Breaking glass, the art of the canned laughter. Yeah, there you go. Oh. But yeah, no, it is time for the New York Times news quiz. Question 1. Tiger Woods, who survived a serious car crash this week, has won 15 major men's golf tournaments, second all time. Who's the only golfer with more, with 18? Roy McIlroy, Phil Mickelson, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, or Gary Player?
Jack.
Think it's Jack?
It's Jack.
Phil Mickelson was what popped in my head before I saw the list, but I don't follow golf.
It's
Nor do
either
I.
Phil Mickelson or Jack Nicklaus.
So it's Jack or Arnold, and I'm pretty sure it's Jack.
Arnold Palmer? No. I know he only has like 8.
Phil doesn't have that many. He's just been around a long time. It's definitely Jack.
You know what? You're probably right.
Okay,
You're
let's say
probably
Jack.
right.
Yay!
It's Jack.
You come back anytime.
Palmer has 7. I said 8, but yeah, I guess and Nicholson has 5. Player has won 9.
Yes, Player.
Fictional golfer.
And McAvoy was a fictional golfer played by Kevin Costner.
In Tin Cup.
At least none of us chose him. That would have
This
really
is
been
true.
bad,
This is true. COVID-19 has caused more than 500,000 confirmed deaths in the United States over the past year. Roughly how many Americans have died from influenza during an average flu season over the past decade? 35, 350, 3,500, 35,000, or 350,000? And this is per year.
Per year.
I used to work in healthcare, and seniors were affected greatly by the flu. I would go with the high number, 350.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't think it's that high.
350,000. It's one of the two higher numbers for sure.
I'm leaning towards 35,000, but you might be right at 350.
So last year, the number of children that died from the flu was like 2,600. And this year it's been like 12 or something like that. So that's why I would agree with that, because kids don't usually die from the flu. The old people do. And 2,600 seems like a lot of
Darby
kids.
agrees with Ashley at 350. Joe Patricia and Joe both are saying 35,000.
I think in any given state, you could have 10,000 flu deaths. So that's why just thinking logically, 350 makes more sense to
I
me.
kind of think that it could be 350,000. Yeah.
Yes.
That would be
350,000.
yeah,
So
350,000.
we're going to go with 350? Yeah.
Locking this in.
Ooh,
Oh.
35.
35,000. Influenza is typically among the 15 leading causes of death in the United States, killing more than either vehicle crashes or gun violence during a severe flu season. But the flu is still of a smaller order of magnitude than COVID.
Phew.
Yeah,
By quite a bit. Yeah.
by a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never known one person who died of influenza, and I have lost 8 people from COVID. So,
Well,
Yeah.
the problem with influenza is that I think my husband is a family physician and he has a lot of nursing home patients, and he says, the problem is that you say it's like it's post-influenza pneumonia or something, like
Yeah.
that. It's not, and so it a lot of times it's caused by influenza, but they don't say that they died from influenza. It's kind of a fine line. Really, in the long run, that's the way they'll show up as COVID too, because you'll have respiratory failure as a result of COVID or whatever. So.
Yeah. Fair.
So the House of Representatives is set to pass President Biden's pandemic relief plan as soon as today. And remember,
That was last week.
these get released on Friday. This is Thursday, so this is 6 days old at this point. Which 3 of the following does the bill include? One-time direct stimulus checks to most individuals, funding to expand vaccinations, a liability shield to protect corporations from lawsuits if their workers contract the virus, money for state, local, and territorial governments, and a public option letting any American buy government health insurance.
I think it's 1, 2, and 4, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Agreed.
Yeah.
1, 2.
No, not that.
That's
Not
3.
live.
Will make us get a bad score.
I don't know.
You clicked 3.
Yeah, that's 3, but it's 2.
Yeah.
The funding to expand vaccinations.
2 and 4.
There we go. I think.
I think so. I agree with that. Hey,
Yep.
pay attention.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't you love how Joe Biden tricked everybody to vote for him by saying that he was going to give everybody $2,000, and here we are, like almost 3 months in, and it's going down. Like, not, we don't want that anyway, but
And it's only 1,400.
There are less and less people that are actually going to qualify for the stimulus checks.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't believe in stimulus. I don't think the stimulus actually negatively or positively impacts anybody, and it's just a waste of government money that it doesn't have. But it's the funding to expand vaccinations, we're already spending 120% of what every single vaccine is actually worth. So how much more are we going to expand it? It's to the point where there are European countries that don't have enough to vaccinate anybody because vaccine companies only want to send to the United States and to Great Britain and to Israel, who are paying well above the actual cost to manufacture or the asking price for these vaccines. So we're going to expand that even more. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then money for state, local, and territorial governments.
they should worry about their own damn problems. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a majority of states out there that are at or near bankruptcy.
I think a lot of that money going to local, state, and territory is earmarked for like schools in situations like that because they're really pushing to open the schools.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of
unemployment stuff and things like that. Yeah,
unemployment as well. That is true. But they're still spending way too
You
much.
can't shut off some of these programs like a spigot, because otherwise you're going to kill people. But
Yeah.
There's a better way.
There is absolutely a better way.
It's so much. And when you show people like your state, your tax that you pay to the federal government, let's say, I'm making up numbers, so somebody's going to quote me and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. 10 cents on a dollar you pay that goes right to the Department of Education. And then we get it back. The state gets it back at like 8 cents. So why are we doing that? Why are we not just keeping 7 cents and keeping it in our state? And then everybody's happier where taxes are lower. Like if we're going to do this, fix it. But yeah, no, you're right. We can't cut it off. But there's so many states that are poorly managed, that have been poorly managed for years, and the federal government should not be in the business of just continually bailing them out. They should be saying, you're going to be bankrupt. People are going to lose their jobs. Stop buying $17 million pedestrian footbridges.
But the great irony here is that the money for state, local, and territorial governments, there were something like, I think, 19 Republican governors who were complaining on Fox News the other day, including my governor, because I'm from a red state, right? Complaining on Fox News because the bill suggested that if you weren't going to get as much money, your state wasn't going to get as much money if you had a low unemployment rate. It's like, no, wait a second. So now you're going to complain because you're not going to get federal dollars, even though you hate the federal government. It's just, they want to suck up the money.
Yes.
So, okay. That was my rant for the night.
So Ken actually brought up an interesting point. Does anyone want to, I shared the comment that he thinks that our elected officials misunderstand the point of the parable of the broken window. Does anyone want to go over the broken window fallacy?
Go for it, Eric.
You do?
So there was, during the French Revolution, there was a political theorist who said that, you should break every window in Paris and you will create jobs for every glass blower and every glazier, and you will reinfuse the city of Paris with money. The problem with that is, and this is why it's now called the broken window fallacy, is because it took away money from everything else. Mm-hmm. The shopkeepers had to replace their windows so they didn't expand their stock, or they didn't actually spend the money on their families, or they didn't do this or that. It didn't infuse the economy with new money. All it did was redirect money. Mm-hmm. And so in actuality, what happened was this artificial inflation of glass and the labor on glaziers, and the money didn't even go nearly as far as it had previously, and resulted in an economic depression or an economic hardship in the city of Paris. Now, the broken window experiment was actually tried in a very, very limited aspect. It wasn't ever widely participated in France, and it also had to do a lot with the mobs that were already going through Paris during the revolution. So, but it's already proven false. It is the broken window fallacy, and yeah, there you go.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I learned something.
All right, let's break a few windows now.
Yeah.
First, let me start a glass shop business, and then we can
Right.
break a few windows.
There you go. Yes. Before we attempt to recreate the broken window experiment, let's all go and open window company. Get in cheap. Which of the following is not a change in the Biden administration is making in the language of government agencies? Capitalizing the T in tribal people, prohibiting the use of the word fetus, replacing illegal alien with non-citizen, and reviving the term climate change.
I'm gonna say fetus is the one that isn't the one that's happening. I'd hope.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, fetuses. I think 3. I mean, that's a general libertarian idea too. Nobody's
That one's definitely happening.
Yeah. Biden is definitely replacing illegal aliens.
Oh, not a change. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would hope that the word fetus wouldn't be banned.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yep, we're right. And the funny thing is, on this list, there's climate change. And I'm glad at least it's not global warming.
Yes.
Because climate scientists are now saying that it's going to be more climate extremism.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see colder winters and rapidly warming summers. And you're going to see a more of a climate extremism in our globe. So I'm glad to see that at least we're moving away from global warming, which is exceptionally inaccurate.
And super annoying when like old people are like, "Oh, how do you like that climate change?" when it's like 80 degrees in February randomly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the entire thing.
Global warming. Did I say the right word? Sorry. Yeah.
Global warming is so. I mean, in the 80s we were talking about global cooling. Then, come to the 2000s, we see global warming, and thank God we're off that entire idea, because that is just so inaccurate.
Yeah.
So going back to the previous question, Joe says that we're missing the point. Mm-hmm. He says, what money? The Fed is printing it and diluting your parents' savings. And yes, only it's my savings that's being diluted. But I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, there is no money it's not as if it's created money out of thin air, and we ought to acknowledge that and recognize that, we're going to pay the piper one way or the other, either through incredible inflation or, I mean, all sorts of possibilities later on. So you're right, Joe. We focused on the wrong thing, or we focused on something else.
Yeah. And if we were any other nation other than the United States, we would be in an economic depression.
Oh yeah.
So bad that it would be inconceivable, because you are looking at, if you were looking at Ireland or you were looking at Greece, once they hit 95% of their GDP, their economy shut down. Mm-hmm. But we're already at 100 and what? Last time I looked, it was 107% of our national GDP. So our national debt could not even physically, if every dollar of our economy was put towards our debt, we would not pay off the debt in a single year. Mm-hmm. The only reason that this exists, and the United States is an exception of this, is because the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, is based on the USD. If the International Monetary Fund decides to change to the euro, or God forbid Bitcoin, we will be in a depression tomorrow of unprecedented levels. And that's the end of it right there. I'm sorry.
Okay. We seem to be animated tonight about a few things,
Yeah, I know. I'm
pretty excited.
I get passionate about certain things.
Yeah.
I do apologize.
Okay. What's next?
New Jersey became the 14th state to legalize the recreational use of cannabis for adults 21 and over. Which of the following states has not approved marijuana for recreational use? Arizona, California, Mississippi, Oregon, or Vermont?
Mississippi.
Yeah. Gotta be.
The only one in the Bible Belt, yes.
Also New Hampshire. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Live free and die, or die, whatever, with your choice.
Live free or get locked up for smoking grass.
Yeah, exactly. It's nuts. Surrounded by it.
Or die.
Or die.
Or die.
Oh.
My Pillow. Is that him?
That's the My Pillow guy.
I think so.
Yeah.
The election technology company Dominion Voting System sued Mike Lindell for more than $1 billion this week over claims he made about fraud in the presidential election. Who is Mike Lindell? CEO of My Pillow. Valerie, you answered this already.
I'm sorry. I
love it. I love it.
That face is just every time I see him, I'm like, why are you even involved in any of this?
Yeah, it's just awful.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me, I don't remember who it was telling me that they'd gotten an email from somebody who was just sure that Mike Lindell's was going to expose. That was supposed to be this week, right? Today, maybe.
Today.
He was supposed to be exposing something that would result in Joe Biden going away and Trump being reinaugurated. It's like, I don't think it works that way. But
nope.
although originally, I do believe that originally March 4th was kind of the magic day for inaugurating presidents.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So, I guess there's a certain elegance there to picking that date. I don't know.
I have to call my dad. He's not watching because I don't think he has a computer right now, but I should call him and ask him what the QAnon conspiracy theories are. He's very
Please don't. Please no. We don't try any more of that.
That just needs to go away.
I work for Wayfair, and because of this guy, customers calling in about the MyPillow, and we had customers yelling at us for one reason or yelling at us for another. And it's like, oh my God, it's a pillow. Just put your head on it and go to sleep, or use it to cover somebody else's head. Just leave me alone. Just enjoy your pillow. Leave us alone. I don't
there
care.
You go. Okay. Syria.
After nearly a decade of fighting, Syria's civil war has settled into a stalemate. About 2/3 of the country normally under President Bashar al-Assad's government. Which of these countries is Syria? A, B, C, D, or E?
Oh God.
This is when we this is when we always let Eric do stuff because he's the geography guy.
I believe
C,
it's
right?
C.
C.
Yeah.
I think it's
I believe it's
C? Okay, yeah. Oh.
Syria. What a mess. If anybody's watching and likes to do some volunteering or donations, there's a company, it's a total nonprofit. It's all run by volunteers called Carry the Future. And they provide baby carriers for the refugee women who are escaping Syria and other war-torn areas so that they don't have to carry their baby and their hands are free. They can not waste an entire arm carrying a baby, and they show the mothers how to wear it. And they also provide newborn care packages and women and children packages for people staying in refugee camps.
That's wonderful.
Yes, we're big supporters of them. And now that we're bombing again, it's time to redonate.
Yes, unfortunately, it is.
This French electronic music duo who helped popularize sample-based dance music announced that they're split this week after 28 years. Who are they? Daft Punk, Disclosure, Justice, Major Lazer, or Mr. Robot?
Daft Punk.
Yeah.
I agree.
That was a good one.
Good job, guys.
So, yeah, this is one thing that I've always laughed about Daft Punk, though. They are a French electronic music duo, but they are two brothers from England.
Yeah.
I don't even know what French electronic music is, so.
Well, at the next LNC meeting, and
you promise?
There you go. Yeah, we'll sample that.
Well, I think we should run it on Sunday while we're all having dinner. While we take our dinner break, we should just run it over the the YouTube feed.
I'll just sing it for you.
Okay, that's good.
Go for it.
But you can't do that with your mouth. Can you do that with your mouth full while you're eating?
It's going to be a great meeting.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Daft Punk karaoke.
Oh,
Instead of being up all night to get lucky, you're up all night to listen to yelling.
So serious.
Jared is answering the next question. I haven't even read it yet. I love it. So North Dakota State, Villanova, Hampton, and dozens of other college teams will be soon playing games after having postponed their fall season because of the coronavirus pandemic. In which sport?
It is football.
Jared is saying football.
It is.
And it is. Yep.
It is definitely football.
And it is. Look at that.
Good job.
The rest of them aren't fall sports, for one.
Yeah.
Maybe golf, but usually spring.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing. Well, but we're going into spring right now.
Yes, they're playing the fall season in the spring. These were all
got you.
The main Division I teams played in the fall, but all the other schools waited until spring.
Understood. Yeah. So what is happening in this photo? A film crew preparing a beach in Ireland for an upcoming adaptation of Lucy Foley's The Guest List. Gig workers hired from TaskRabbit are searching for a missing diamond earring in Bora Bora. Israeli soldiers are cleaning up tar from the country's coastline after a mysterious oil spill. Scientists are investigating noxious seaweed, which washed up on the coast of Venezuela. And shell collectors are scouring the beaches of the Sanibel Island at low tide after back-to-back storms.
Can you scroll back up to the picture?
It looks like everybody's in scrubs.
Hazmat suits sort of or something. So
yeah, I don't see any tar, so I'm thinking it's the seaweed in Venezuela.
Yes.
So is that what we're saying? We're saying Venezuela?
The noxious seaweed.
Noxious. Venezuela's got
it could also be a film crew. I wouldn't be surprised at that either.
No, it actually is tar.
Oh, it is the tar.
Yeah.
They don't see it show any of the tar.
Yeah.
But there's been no tankers that have had any leaks. There's no reason for this tar to be washing up on so many of Israel's beaches right now.
In the Holy Land? Is this part of like the apocalypse?
Probably.
Plagues that I know of.
It's the next plague, the 11th plague, the one
Yeah, exactly.
Frogs.
Plague. Yay!
Frogs.
The locusts are coming back this year, right?
Tar on the beach. That
tar on the beach. COVID,
and cicada. This is the cycle year for locust and cicada, which is hasn't happened in a very long time. So that's going to be interesting.
Nasty. Well, hopefully no frogs fly out of the sky.
Right. Rivers turning to blood. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. But no, there's really no reason for this oil to be spilling up or showing up on Israeli coasts. But
weird.
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe somebody sunk a tanker or something, and nobody told anybody about it.
It's hard in this day and age to lose a tanker.
But if it's your own, like if they sunk their own ship for
like
some
Israeli military tanker and
somebody sunk their own tanker and now the oil's leaking out.
But there's so many. I mean, you'd think that there would be like satellite experts, that do forensic back. I mean, I think they'd figure it out.
Could have been something that sunk a long time ago and is now
that
just
could
starting
be.
to leak.
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
That would make the most sense.
McDonald's added the crispy chicken sandwich to its menu this week. Which chain restaurant started the current chicken sandwich battle in the summer of 2019 when it introduced its own? Burger King, Hardee's, KFC, Popeyes, or Wendy's?
Popeyes.
Yeah.
The first Popeyes in New Hampshire opened the other day, or like a couple weeks ago, and everyone thought that the line to get into the Popeyes was the COVID vaccine line. There was this huge traffic backup, and like the police had to come and direct the traffic because it was literally to go to Popeyes, not to get a COVID vaccine.
I remember
You
when
should get your
Popeyes
COVID
released
vaccine
this-
at Popeyes, right?
More people were there.
But I remember when Popeyes released this sandwich and people were shooting each other. Or
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
there were
It was
actual
crazy.
deaths going on with this.
Must
They
be.
were selling out at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
There were like 5-hour lines. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. We got 9 out of 11 right. We did better than 68% of those who took the quiz. 11% of quiz takers got the same score as us, and 15% did better than us.
Not bad. Not so shabby.
So
Not too bad.
that was a fun quiz. And you're right. I did get a little emboldened and impassioned a couple of times, Laura.
It's okay.
But
The word spicy.
yeah.
Thanks.
So that kind
A
of
little
wraps
less-
us up. Do
A
we
little
have
less
any
wholesome
parting
tonight.
words?
Yeah, a little less wholesome
A
tonight.
little less wholesome tonight, huh, Eric?
Yeah, I am. I'm killing the wholesome thing this week.
That's
I don't know. I'm
Because you put on a shirt from New York.
yeah, exactly. It's channeling my inner New York, and I'm losing my North Carolina Southern charm. That's what it is.
Bless your heart.
Oh, that's a dangerous, dangerous statement right
Well,
there.
you did also invite a masshole tonight, so as we're
Oh,
known to be called.
but does anyone have any parting words or things that they want to plug before we call it a night?
Ashley, you have anything? Anything coming up?
Yeah. So again, just to throw out there, please check us out, Outright Libertarians. Right now, check out our Facebook page. Outright USA is our tag. If you're interested in learning more about my city council race, you can visit ashleyshade.com. And all the social media links are there. The tag is ashade4office with the number 4. And for those who will be at the New Hampshire convention, I'll see you there in March. I'm going to be attending several different conventions over the next few months. So keep an eye out on our social media pages and you'll see where I'm going next. I'd love to see you and give you one of my famous hugs, as everybody wants, the Ashley hug. So if you're looking for a hug and you're looking for the best hug you can ever get, I'll see you at those conventions. Come get your hug.
Thank you for coming
We
on.
figured it out before the show started. My last time I got an Ashley hug was March 8th of 2020, so I am overdue.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'll see you in New Hampshire, yes?
Yes, I will be in New Hampshire.
Excellent. So far, I'm confirmed for New Hampshire, Iowa, Pennsylvania, and Colorado, or the slate that I'm
I'll
currently
see you
confirmed
in
for.
Colorado. I'm going to be in
Okay.
Colorado and Kansas, and next weekend I'm going to be in Wyoming at the Frontier Project event. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Awesome.
Very, very good.
Well, I guess that kind of wraps us up. Everyone have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Ashley, thank you for joining us, all of our wonderful viewers. We will see you next week, next Thursday, 8 p.m., with another fabulous guest that will be joining us then. So we'll see you then. Have a great night, everyone.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Love you.